So here is day number 4, and we have the book of Job. So Blue Letter Bible app, I guess they use the genealogies to place Job right here in the timeline. There was a man in the land of Uz named Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. And his substance was also 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels and 500 yoke of oxen and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all men of the east. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, and every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. And it was so that when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Thus did Job continually. So he kept making sacrifices for his family. And there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before Jehovah, and Satan came also among them. So we see this, the sons of God. Sons of God went earlier in Genesis, they knew women and born the Nephilim, sons of God. Okay, and that's interesting. It's also sons of God comes up in 1 John and Romans. I think it's talking about, they end up, God reckons his servants as the sons of God later, I believe. Okay. And the Lord said unto Satan, "Hast thou considered my..." Okay, and the Lord came unto Satan, and where comest thou? And Satan answered Jehovah and said, "From going fro and in the earth, and from walking up and down in it." So he's going to and fro from heaven to earth. And the Jehovah had said unto Satan, "Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil?" And Satan answered Jehovah and said, Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast thou not made a hedge about him and his house, and all that hath on every side? And thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and the substance is increased in the land. But put forth thy hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And Jehovah said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath in my power, only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job, and the oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabeans fell upon them, and took them away. And yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And only am I escaped alone to tell thee. And while he was yet speaking, there also came another and said, The fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. And I only escaped alone to tell thee. And he was yet speaking. There came also another and said, Of the Chaldeans made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only escaped alone to tell thee. So now, weird kid, hey man, what's going on? And Aaron and Ruthie, hey, how's everybody doing this morning? Good morning. Yeah, Job. With Job, man, I have more questions than answers with this one. But we'll see if we get something in the next couple days in reading it. Okay, so but right here, this is chapter 1. I'm on verse 17. Or going to verse 18, while he was yet speaking, there came also another, said, thy sons and thy sons' daughters were eating wine in the eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the four corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I alone escaped alone to tell thee. And Job arose, and he rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground, and worshipped. Just wow. Okay, so all this stuff is just, all this bad stuff starts happening to Job. And Job arose and rent his mantle, okay, in verse 21, and said, naked I come out of my mother's womb, and naked I shall return hither. Jehovah gave, and the Jehovah hath taken away. Blessed be the name of Jehovah. And in all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Okay, so that is like what I get most out of Job, is that we're not the judge of God. Okay, that's probably like my number one takeaway. And again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before Jehovah, and Satan came also among them to present himself before Jehovah. And Jehovah said unto Satan, from whence thou come? And Satan answered Jehovah and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down on it. And Jehovah said unto Satan, thou hast considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, perfect and upright. One man that feareth God escheweth evil, and still he holdeth his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without a cause. And Satan answered Jehovah and said, skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath he will give for his life. But put forth thy hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And Jehovah said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So went Satan forth from the presence of Jehovah, and smote Job with sores and boils, from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head, and took him a potsherd to scrape himself wherewithal, and he sat down among the ashes. And said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thy integrity? Curse God and die. Okay, because she's just lost everything too. You know, is it a wager? They didn't say it was a wager, Salberton. But I think it's a test. You know, we see these tests throughout the Bible. We're coming up on some tests when we get into Exodus. So we'll see there. But almost kind of like a wager. Okay, now where was I? Behold the sign land. Okay, then. But he said unto her, thou shalt speakest the one a foolish woman speaketh. What shall thou receive at the good of thy hand of God? Shall we not receive evil? So they receive the good, but you got to take the evil with it too. And all in this day, Job did not sin with his lips. And now when Job's three friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place, from Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite. And they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him and to comfort him. Verse 12, and when they lifted up their eyes from afar off, and they knew him not, they lifted up their voices and wept. And they rent every one his mantle, and sprinkled dust upon their heads towards heaven. And they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spoke a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great. Rod Todd. Yeah, that's quite a strange question. We are to be not concerned with our flesh, but we want to be circumcised of the heart. All right? You want to be circumcised of your heart, brother. Okay? And as I read this stuff, I'm reading some comments here from the Peanut Gallery, and some of the comments are quite colorful sometimes. Okay, and after this, opened Job's mouth and cursed his day. And Job spake and said, let the day perish wherein I was born, in the night in which I was said, there is a man child conceived. Let this day be darkest. Let not God regard it from above, neither let the light shine on it. Let the darkness and the shadow of death stain it. Let the cloud dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. As for the night, let darkness seize upon it, and let it not be joined unto the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of months. Lo, let every night be solitary, let no joyful voice come herein. Let them curse it that curse the day, and who are ready to raise up their mourning. Let the stars of the twilight thereof be dark. Let it look for light, but have none. Neither let it see the dawning of the day. The dawning of the day. Because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hid the sorrow from my eyes. Why die I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? Why did the knees prevent me? Or why the breast that I should suck? For now I should have lain still and been quiet. I should have slept when I should have been at rest. With the kings and the counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves, or with the princes that have gold, who filled their houses with silver, or as a hidden ultimately birth I have not been, as infants which never saw light. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. There be the prisoners rest together, they hear not the voice of the oppressor. For the small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Which is that? Did I turn more than one page? Yes. Okay. 3:20. Therefore, it is light given to him that is in misery, and life into the bitter soul, which long for death, but it comfort cometh not. Okay, that which long for death, but cometh not, and dig for it more than hidden treasures, which rejoice exceedingly and are glad when they find the grave. Why is the light given to a man whose way is hid, and whom God hath hedged in? For my sighing cometh before I eat, and my roarings are poured out like waters. For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid is come unto me. And I was not in safety. I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came. So, those words right there at the end of chapter 3 are kind of speaking to what Job's given, people instruction. He's a rebuker at the gate. And we'll find out that later in like verse 29 or chapter 29. But so I was not in safety, neither had I rest. So he was working, and neither was I quiet, yet trouble came. So he's wondering. And then when Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, if we essay to commune with thee, wilt thou be grieved? But who can withhold himself from speaking? Behold, thou hast instructed many. Job, you've instructed many, and thou hast strengthened the weak hands. Thy words have upholded him that was failing, and thou hast strengthened the feeble knees. But now it is come upon thee. So all that when you were warning somebody about what could happen to them, now it's come upon you. Is it not thy fear and thy confidence and thy hope and thy uprightness of thy ways? Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where they were righteous were cut off. So those are questions. Even as I have seen the plow, even as I have seen they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. By the blast of God they perish, and by the breath of his nostrils they are consumed. The roaring of the lion, the voice of the fierce lion, the teeth of the young lions are broken. The old lion perish for lack of prey, and the stout lion whelps are scattered abroad. Now a thing that secretly brought unto my ear received a little thereof, in the thoughts from the visions of the night, when the deep sleep falleth on men. Fear came upon me and trembling, which made all my bones to shake, and the spirit passed before my face, and the hair stood up, and I stood still, but I could not discern from the form thereof. An image was before my eyes, there was a silence, and I heard a voice saying, Thou shalt, mortal man, be more just than God? Shall mortal man be more just than God? Shall man be more pure than his Maker? Behold, he put no trust in his servants, and his angels be he charged with folly. And how much less in them that dwell in the houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, which are crushed before the moth. They are destroyed from morning to evening, they perish forever without regarding it. Doth not their excellency which is in them go away? They die, and even without wisdom. Chapter 5. Call now, if there be any that will answer thee, and to which of these saints which wilt thou turn? For the wrath killeth the foolish man. The wrath killeth the foolish man, and envy slayeth the silly one. And I have seen foolish talking root, but suddenly I cursed his habitation. His children are far from safety, and they are crushed in the gate. Neither is there any to deliver them. Those whose harvest the hungry eateth up, and taketh even out of the thorns, and the robber swalloweth up their substance. Although affliction cometh not forth from the dust, neither doth trouble spring out of the ground. Yet man is born into trouble as the sparks fly upward. I would seek unto God, and unto God I would commit my cause, which doeth great things, unsearchable, marvelous things without number, who giveth the rain upon the earth, and sendeth the waters upon the fields, to set up those on high and low, those which mourn may be exalted to safety. Those that mourn may be exalted to safety. He that disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness and counsel, and the counsel of the forward is being carried headlong. They meet with darkness in daytime, and they grope in noonday in night. But he saveth the poor from the sword, and their mouth from the hand of the mighty. So the poor hath hope and iniquity stoppeth their mouth. Behold, happy is the man who God correcteth. Therefore, despise not thou chastening of the Almighty. For he maketh sore, and he bindeth up, and he woundeth, and his hands make whole. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall be no evil touches thee. In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither thou shalt be afraid of the beasts of the earth. Hey, Happy New Year, yeah. So, For thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. And thou shalt know that thy tabernacle be in peace, and thou shalt visit thy habitation, and thou shalt not sin. Thou shalt know that also that thy seed shall be great, and thine offspring as the grass of the earth. And thou shalt come to thy grave in full age, like as a shock of the corn cometh in the season. Lo, this we have searched it. So hear it, and know it for thy good. Wow, that's Job 1 through 5. And so Job's friends come, and now his friends are talking, and they are befuddled themselves. And then now Job's going to have to go toe to toe with them while he's covered in sores, and his family's died, and all this afflictions come upon him. So in the next couple of days, we'll get through the rest of Job. And like I said in my description, Job sometimes gives me more questions than answers. And I love you guys, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.